It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.
Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. I'm one of your hosts, Alice Lara, here with
Zeke Rodriquez.
The Zekeinator, we like to call him. And thank you, Chipsters, for joining us again. Those of you that have been following us, this is it's episode number 5, Zeke.
5.
Number 5. And what we do is we pre-record the show and then we upload it to our Rumble site and our YouTube site. We've got a great guest coming up in just a couple of minutes, Juan Garcia, who is the chairman of the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, here live from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Well, we're live right now, but we'll be recorded later. Okay, get that straight. So let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Christopher Columbus Day today.
Yay.
Yay. Now, I hope I have this right. Correct me. Do you remember, did you learn this rhyme when you were in school? 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered the ocean blue. Juan, do I have that right?
I don't remember that one, but okay.
Oh, it was 1492.
No, 1492.
Okay, I'm off 100 years.
It was a long time ago.
Not that bad.
And anyways, we recognize that. We celebrate Christopher Columbus Day. And because we are very unpolitically correct here. So that's a badge of honor for us. I want to tell you too, birthday time, because we like to acknowledge birthdays. I want to wish a very special happy birthday to my nephew, David Beasley. He's here locally in Las Cruces.
Mr. Beasley.
Mr. Beasley.
I like that name.
Yeah. And David, he actually wrote our theme song for the Chips and Salsa Show. So in the beginning, when you hear the da 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 da, and you know what? He's Air Force. U.S. Air Force.
He's now Beasley.
Yeah, Beasley. Oh, he's going to like that. He was in the Air Force band.
Oh, wow, really?
And that's where he met his beautiful wife. And she actually outranked him. They're married.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Must be a good-looking dude.
They are, yeah. They did good. They have a son, Zachary. So happy birthday, David Beasley. And any birthdays or anniversaries for you?
Nah, I got nothing. I got nothing.
What about you, Juan? Anything going on in your
I don't
world?
celebrate birthdays anymore. Okay. I'm celebrate.
All right.
I
Okay.
just pretend they don't exist.
I know. I hear you. I totally hear you. So, as I said, we do pre-record the show, and we always like to say, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our Rumble channel and our YouTube channel as well. As you know, we got in trouble with YouTube. We got knocked off a show. They deleted one of our shows. That's okay. It's a digital badge of honor.
We thought it was going to be permanent, but they actually let us re-upload recently. So thank the Lord Moses that we're able to still be on YouTube. Although we will be going all in with YouTube and Rumble in the very near future. So if you could, guys, listen to Alice, subscribe to our Rumble and our YouTube, because before you know it, those Rumble will be our only means of communication if things keep going the way they do. So we appreciate your support. But please subscribe to our Rumble and our YouTube.
Better safe to do this. Okay, without further ado, we've got for our first segment, we have a wonderful good friend of ours, Juan Garcia, who is the chairman of the Coalition of Conservatives in Action here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Let me read a little quick paragraph. He actually immigrated here with his parents at 5 years old. He dropped out from high school at 17. Guess what? He served 25 years in the U.S. Marine Corps. Like, once a Marine, always a Marine. Thank you for your service, sir. And then he retired recently as a Department of Defense contractor. I just like to read this because this is so cool, Juan. You say, I have a strong nationalistic view as defined, identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, shaped by a solid Christian conservative Hispanic upbringing and career in the Corps. Race, ethnicity, and victimhood are not factors in my life. We all bleed the same color, red. Hard work, merit, positive support when needed are the key contributors to my success. I am a strong believer in God, country, and family. And welcome, Juan Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, the main reason we wanted to have you on is because Thursday is going to be kind of a big day. If you guys follow us at all, what we did is we have been posting, and we'll post it again, Juan's claim to fame, we'll call it. Here, he's causing trouble in the public school system. So do you want to explain it? Should we let Juan explain it? What do you think, Zeke?
You know, I'm not as fully versed in this particular situation as, of course, Juan will be. Let's let Juan take it over, because I'm learning right now too, because I kind of it gets so muddled up. All I know, just I'm speaking as a layperson, as a regular viewer, listener, I know that the school board had been allowing books in the school system that are just not appropriate. And of course, like right away, they want to label us as book burners, and that's not what we're saying here. You never want to be burning books. Parents want to buy this stuff for their own, volition. They can do that, but there's just age appropriation. There's common sense that these kids shouldn't be introduced to this crazy material. I didn't want to get into it, but let's let Juan get into what's going on here this Thursday, because I want to support him. We want to support him as much as we can, because we know he's fighting a good fight, and we want to get up to date exactly what's going on so we can help him the best way that we can.
So thank you guys. So this book was identified probably March of this year, give or take. It was identified at Mayfield High School. Sarah and some of the folks she works with, Sarah Smith, they identified it. I ordered it from Amazon, reviewed it, and it was very graphic. Okay. So up front, we're not anti-trans, we're not anti-homosexual, we're not anti-LGBT or any of that stuff. Okay. The issue is, if you read the book, and I'm not going to do too many, well, I won't do it here, but you'll have an opportunity on Thursday, or if you visit our YouTube, CCIA YouTube, I recorded in April, and I think in June, maybe July, somewhere in there, where I spoke again, because the first time they ignored me. The second time they listened, but they took no action. And then shortly after that, they called us in, basically said, hey, let's get together, the school board, the administration, school administration, myself, Sarah, I think Wendler went with us. And we had
Before you keep going, could you please give the audience and us a sample or example of what the graphic material entailed, just so we can have a context?
And also, we need to let our audience know this book, you guys verified that it was in Mayfield High School's library. So this is a local high school, and it was there in the library.
Absolutely, it was verified. So without getting too overly graphic, how graphic should I get?
I mean, we gotta get people motivated to understand.
Okay. All right. So I get it. So let me read here, because I'm highlighting some of the areas. So in the book, and this is a quote from the book, it says, like, when he got fucked by the coach from Highbrook in the locker room during the homecoming game, home wasn't the only thing that was coming. She said it was huge, like this big. I bet he was bottoming because the other boys were afraid of him. Straight from the book. And
okay.
So that's just a tiny, tiny little sample of what's in the book.
Okay.
And Juan, I will tell the audience, when they see the whole thing, that's almost kind of tame for everything else that was read in there.
Yes, and if you want to hear more about it, listen on Thursday, right? I'm not exactly looking forward to it. It's rather awkward to sit there or stand there and read a heck of a lot more graphic information. I mean, you can discuss it among your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever. But when you're talking in front of potentially hundreds of people, okay, and being broadcast on live, but the only way we can make an impact on this and highlight this and get these people to understand there's a problem here is by presenting it. And everything that I will be reading, and Sarah, is from the book. So hopefully the school board is not, I don't want to say dumb enough, but dumb enough to say you can't do that, because at that point in time, what they're saying is, I can't read it in public, but it's okay for your 14-year-old son or daughter to read it in the library, take it home, read it in the bus, wherever he or she wants to read it. So the issue is not book banning. The American Library Association has a very high regard for this book. It does. I mean, they think it's one of the top books. So the question here is for the audience is, are you comfortable? Do you trust what the ALA is doing, the librarians in the school district are doing by looking at this type of books? What does this book promote? It doesn't promote learning. Well, unless you want to learn how to be a slut. It doesn't promote reading, math, and that's the big highlight, how to be a teen slut. It doesn't do any type of educational promotion. In my opinion, it is an attempt to normalize this type of sex, okay? And basically what they're doing is they're making it so, hey, what's a big deal? Sarah and I, we met with the principal at the librarian at Mayfield. The principal was very uncomfortable. The librarian was like, basically, why are you guys here? What's the big deal with this book? And we're like, whoa. So the concern also is that if the mentality of the quote librarians that are accepting these books is this, what else are they accepting that we just haven't found? And in reality, if it was a public library, I have nothing to say. Okay, that's fine. But to have it in a school environment, when he talks about having sex with his coach, you say to yourself, that just fits right up the alley, right? You want 14-year-old boys or girls, because they're very heavy into oral and anal sex, boys or girls being influenced in this type of behavior with coaches, adults. They talk about sadomasochism, bondage, getting stoned, talking about sex with your mother, and I could go on and on. So the question is also, we trust the school board. When you put your kids on the bus at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever time they go, you're trusting that the school district is going to take care of your kids, not try to normalize this type of sexual behavior into the library. This is not a manual. If it was a sex manual, I wouldn't be talking about this. This is a very broad attempt to normalize this type of behavior between teens and adults. It's pedophilia. I mean, the last time I checked, pedophilia is still against the law, or it should be. I know it is, right? So why are they normalizing this type of behavior in this book that's in our library? So when we met with the school board and the administration, the school administration, I don't think they've been challenged on a book before. So there is that committee that will be meeting on this Thursday at 5 o'clock. Invite everybody to join us. Be there 4:15 before it starts. Get a seat and hear for yourself. In a nutshell, basically. Go ahead.
I'm just saying it's good. We would advise people to come early because we don't know if the other side is going to try to load up the room. You know, a lot of us work and maybe not get there till 5. But if you can get there before 4:30-ish, that is the best bet. And as you've talked about it so much, they want to label it a book banning. Well, like you say, you can go somewhere. If you want to purchase that book for your kid, do it. Go for it. No one's going to stop you.
I ordered it on Amazon for $12. Okay, this is my book. I ordered.
See, you were able to do it, but it's about inappropriate material. And like I said, we will post it because you got a little taste of it there, but you have no idea. It's just, it was almost outrageous to me that this would even be in a school. And, and I'm no prude, but still, what do you want your children exposed to? I asked Sarah a question when you guys presented at the meeting on Thursday at our coalition meeting. And my question was, did Mayfield let the parents know that there was a hearing that was going to happen so they could attend? Now they may have, we don't know for sure. But, if you are watching and you're from Las Cruces and you happen to know somebody who has a kid at Mayfield, or maybe it doesn't matter because your taxes go towards the payment of education here in Las Cruces in New Mexico. And, if you're not happy with this, then you have a say. You really do.
Well, two things, if I may jump in. What type of educational value is in this book? And there's no way that anybody's going to say there's educational value in it. There isn't. Okay, number one. Number two is some folks say, well, it sounds like you're homophobic or anti-gay, anti-homosexual, what's have you. So here's the thing. I refuse to believe that a parent or parents of a young teen homosexual child, 14-year-old child, is going to condone that their young 14-year-old son, is going to become a slut. I refuse to believe it. So I've heard a lot of this. Well, this book is about gay and blah blah blah, whatever it is. So you're gonna tell me that parents of young gay kids, 14-year-old kids, they expect and they're okay with their young sons becoming sluts, and that's really what it is. We've done some research, more than I really wanted to do, and the average definition of a teen slut or slut is a person that has about 5 to 10 different partners a year. That's an average. Yeah, that's just a number. It could be less, it could be more.
Well, let's go by today's standards.
So probably. So just for the sake of discussion, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 is legal age of consent. In those 4 years, at the low end, we're talking about 20 to 40 partners, sex partners in those 4 years. Now, is it going to happen to every kid? No, of course not. But this is where it's going. And again, you said it right, Ellis. I'm not talking about being a sex group. I'm just saying, hey, have some decency and some thoughtfulness about what your kids could potentially be experiencing in the library. Now, let me just add one last thing. The school has said, hey, only one person has checked this out. You don't know. You can go to a library, take the darn thing out, read it there during lunch or what have you, and put it back. But it doesn't make any difference. The point is, what is the value of this book in school? Go ahead.
That is a really good question. What is the value of this book? My husband the other night we were talking about this, and he said, are they going to have any of that stuff when they take the SATs? They need to know this information. Is it really necessary to do this? Now, it's going to be so fascinating in this hearing, and that's going to be Thursday, and it's at the Public Administration Building. What's the address there? It's on Main, right?
It's on Main Street. It's right across the street from the old Denny's.
You can't miss it. For old people like me that used to live here a long time ago, that used to be the old Loretto shopping center.
Yes.
Al
Paseo area. Yeah, you can find
by Citizens Bank. It's in the Citizens Bank Plaza of Al Paseo.
There you go. That's a good way to describe
So there's one. You've only got a few more minutes here left with us, and I want to highlight a few points. Now, number one, what a lot of people don't understand about there's a couple of things. All right, like fornication is just bad. We'll go over that. I'll go over that secondly. But to begin with, the Nazis, before they would attack a country or a certain city, a couple of months out, they would blast that city or that community with hardcore pornography because it desensitizes people. All right, it's really bad for the brain. Pornography, these types of focus on sexual activity rather than focusing on bettering yourself, focusing on being good at doing better at school, just focusing on positive human traits. So this book is just kind of got a lot more ominous intentions behind it from the way that I see it. And then secondly, being promiscuous in the way that you just articulated, Juan, with 5 to 10, what they would deem a slut, is very detrimental to females particularly. They've done studies where if women have more than 10 partners, and they're finding that's even lower now, past 5 to 6 partners, they get to a point where they can't pair bond, which is essentially they can't fall in love with their man, and they'll end up not being able to get married. They'll get divorced very easily, which would force kids to be in single parent homes. So this type of literature and this type of influence on our youth is an attack on several fronts, the way I see it. And I'm so glad that you're actually out there doing something about this, because these poor kids are under attack in so many ways already. Now they want to hit it with this hardcore pornography. And then I'm not even going to get into the LGBTQ gay stuff where 80% plus of them have suicidal ideation, where if they actually cared about kids who are gay and who are homosexual, which we all agree, I'm cool with it. But if we're going to be cool with it, let's at least help them out. These kids have these suicidal tendencies, suicidal ideation. We should be getting them counseling. We should be figuring out why they're depressed. So
two other things too, Zeke, if I may add. Number one, this type of focus on oral and anal sex is not only peculiar to males, it's peculiar to females too. Number one. Number two is disease. Okay, so just do a visual. You have a 14-year-old kid, first time, second time, third time. They don't talk about find a guy or girl that you want to fall in love with, get to know, blah, 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 nothing like that. It's indiscriminate sex, okay? So you end up with an STD, okay, 14. You don't know. Some of the STDs you won't know for a long time that you've got it. Right. And if they promote this type of promiscuity, who knows how many people will be contaminated or infected, I should say, with an STD. So it's not just about, well, you're being, whatever they want to call us. I mean, use some common sense. Excuse me, that there is ramifications to this type of behavior. Now, as an adult, you're probably more familiar when there's diseases, you get contact, you got to be safe, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, think about it. How many 14-year-old boys or 14-year-old girls are going to go say, hey, Mom, I want to go have indiscriminate sex. I'm thinking about having sex with a coach. I mean, what should I do? I mean, it doesn't work that way.
That's so crazy.
It plays on the emotional immaturity of these poor kids. It's like almost in the realm of child abuse. Okay, before we let you go, we need to, now, everybody out there, if you haven't seen us before, we have interviewed Juan before, but you can definitely see that this organization is what it says it is. Coalition of Conservatives in Action. They talk at the county meetings, the city meetings, the public school boards, and they are people, we go to the meetings, we're getting like 50 people almost each week, and they are people who want to do something. Now, typically, we meet every Thursday, 6 p.m. over at the Kitchen Craft, which is right next to the Rudy's Barbecue on Telshore. And this Thursday is just different because we have this hearing, and we really want as many people that can come to please come. Oh, do you know if it's going to be on Zoom by any chance?
I don't know, but they typically broadcast it live through their cable.
What time is it at again?
I'm sorry?
5, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
so
If you find out, let us know. I'll try to find out too, and we can post it, because if you can't make it down there, at least turn it on and watch it. Or watch it.
You can watch it on the LCPS channel.
Okay.
I'll share the link.
Yeah.
We can
that's a
both
good
share
idea.
the link
We can do
when
that.
it comes up.
Juan, any parting words? Because we really appreciate you taking time today to be on the show and explain all of this.
I think the last couple of words are, we're not into book banning. That's not the intent. If there was a way that this book could be isolated somehow to so that age appropriate students, 17,
There's no age appropriate though, Juan. It's encouraging pedophilia. There's no age appropriate here.
No, I hear you, and actually I agree with you. But the school's going to push back, okay? Right. But there has to be some boundaries, right? And we don't want to come out and say ban the book, get rid of the book, because that leads to a very different context. And again, like I said before, we're not homophobic, we're none of that stuff. Just use common sense, and that's it.
Right. And this is one book that you happen to find out about. What always goes in my mind, this is not the only high school here in Las Cruces. It's not the only school. What else is out there? We have no idea what's out there. So
We just don't have the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on, Juan. We appreciate it. We will see you on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, brother.
I will be there. And we hope everybody else, we invite you guys to come too. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you.
Juan the Savage.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so
Juan is just a great guy.
yeah, love that guy.
Man, he is amazing.
It's refreshing to have, I was thinking about this the other day. I have so many really good friends that are 60 and above, right? And I've gravitated towards them now more than ever, because those are the people that were running my city, running my state, and essentially running our country in the mid-90s, which was the best times of my life. They have that same spirit, that patriotic, I love America, got to do the right thing, have principles, have morals, got to stick up for the family, got to have God. That was commonplace when I was growing up. That was everywhere. Now it's like, there's very far and few between people who are like that, and they're all over 60 because it was a generational thing. The people who are younger than that they're not there. They're not there in that way. So it's awesome to see these people, but it's sad to see that there's not a generation coming up behind them to fill those roles.
Well, that's why, most of the people that go there, they are retired, and, the average age is probably 60. There's people there that are even much older. You would never guess that.
Right.
They are so engaged, and they don't look their age. Their minds are so sharp.
Correct.
It's amazing. But I want to give a moment too, and give it to millennials like you, because I know quite a few millennials too. They're tired of this stuff, and they're waking up, they're educated, and they understand that, I'm sorry that this is the world that we have right now. But with all of us working together, we got to keep fighting.
Yeah, it seems like the Gen Xers are really there's a good sect of the baby boomers that are doing all this to us. That's who's in office, right? You know what I mean? They've been in power for a long time. The Gen Xers are just gone. Those are all latchkey kids. The millennials, guys like me and my age, I can name some names, Tim Pool, Andrew Tate. I do support him, even though he's a Muslim and he's controversial. He is for pro-family. He is for masculinity, which I like that.
Good.
And then where it starts to become problematic is the Gen Zers. The Gen Zers, the men are more conservative.
So
than
what
others.
age group is that?
The Gen Zers, like 15 to like 24.
Okay, so
The youngsters,
young.
the youth. So they've done studies of the men in those age, the boys are very hardcore conservative. So they're going to be even more conservative than my generation at this current pace, which I see it when I go to NMSU. In fact, I just had I went to the pro-life rally at NMSU. I was invited by Jack, who's a badass. He's going to be going to Yale Law, 4.0 student, super masculine dude, 2-parent household. And there's a lot of guys like him at NMSU, and that speaks to that study that came out. But the women of that generation are going harder left, So, breaking it down generationally, there is some hope for the future, especially with the young men, which I plan on spending more time with and doing more with my company to get out to those individuals, because I think they need more of a voice. And I was told that when I was on NMSU, how much they really appreciated me and my message when I was running for state representative. I was surprised that I was so welcomed and so honored. I was just being myself. But these kids really need a positive male role model. There is nothing like that right now. And the millennials, like you said, are doing that. But you guys are awesome too. All my friends are, like Alice's and her generation, because it's ingrained in you guys.
Well, we grew up with it, and we see how the world used to be. Not that we had a perfect world. There were problems.
It's a lot better than it is now.
It's so far out these days. And yes, you're right. You can be a great mentor, because they see, when you're younger, you see people and they seem like, wow, they're 40, 50 years older than me. My goodness gracious. But if you're a little younger to their age set,
right,
they tend to say, well, it wasn't that long ago. He was my age, or she was my age.
No, I can identify with them.
So I'm so glad that you were there. And I think what happens too is, in your age group, everybody's working. You're working, trying to make a living. That happened to me. I really didn't get involved in politics until I was probably closer to your age, actually. And then I started paying attention. I thought, whoa, I can't believe this. Because as long as you're working, making a living, you think, oh, everything's okay. We're putting those people in office, they're running things okay. But man, just pay attention just a little bit, even if you can. Whatever small amount you can do. For me, it was watching C-SPAN. C-SPAN used to just televise everything straight off the cuff. And I started watching, I thought I was a Democrat.
You and her and husband are always bragging about talking about C-SPAN. C-SPAN of all things. That's so crazy. Back in the day, right?
They used to just, broadcast everything. And we watched it and we said, wow, those are the Democrats talking. Those are the Republicans talking. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not.
Clear distinction. Even back then, there was a clear distinction.
Yeah.
Well, for me, what woke me up, and I'd say this, I'll probably do a whole podcast on this alone eventually, is just Joe Rogan experience. I'm a huge fan of his, but when Alex Jones went on there, it's JRE 9/11 with Eddie Bravo. If you haven't checked it out, it was the most viewed podcast in world history. It's got over 30 million views. Absolutely changed my life. It's what flipped me from being a hardcore progressive Bernie Democrat supporter to where I am now, where they would label me a terrorist, far right-wing guy. But I'm just someone who loves humanity and loves God and loves my community. But that one podcast, JRE 9/11, write it down, guys. Watch it. JRE 9/11.
Write that down.
Well,
what is it again?
JRE 9/11. You can YouTube it with Eddie Bravo. You just put Bravo, who's a jiu-jitsu black belt. And Alex Jones just basically describes the what's behind the scenes, which is a great segue because we're going to get into Israel now. We're going to get into national geopolitics. So my problem, let me get this out real quick. Yeah.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. You're on roll.
When you see people pushing for one side or the other, especially in these global instances, like, with 9/11, everybody was like, well, who cares? We want to go straight to war. You got people signing up. There's a lot of war propaganda. Now it's like, okay, we got to give Israel all the money that we can. We got to go to war. We got to bomb. We got to wake up with Gaza as rubble. Look, guys, people to me who pick a side right away, it tells me two things about you. Number one, you're very low information, or two, you have an ominous agenda behind you. Because ultimately, behind these types of proxy wars, these red flag wars that we're so used to now, 9/11 was the same thing. They kicked that off so they can start another war, and they can bring in all kinds of fascist style corporate dollars for these wars, to fund these wars. The federal bankers are who fund all this stuff, okay? Because they're the ones who make tons of money off of these wars. All right, it's not just black or white. It's very, especially when we talk about Middle East, it's very complicated. It's not black and white the way they want you to think. If the media is telling you it's black and white, pick a side. That's your cue to start looking deeper into the issues, because Israel, I mean, hell, they push the mandatory vaccines harder than any country in the world. Okay, if you look at the studies, they got the most sick. Even after that, they all took an average of 3 shots. They're hardcore LGBTQ communities in that country as well. You can comfortably say that that country has let go of God and therefore has let go of the protection of God. Okay, and what came before that was England. England was the one that was under attack from its own government before Israel, and then they took that from England to Israel and they took it to America. So Israel and America are the 2 most powerful Western countries, and we're going to suffer the same fate as them if we don't understand what's really behind these types of red flag proxy wars. And it's not just black and white, Israel versus Muslims, and we got to hate the Muslims or whatever. It's way, way deeper than that. The bankers are who killed JFK. So I just hope people can look deeper into these issues and realize that we're pointing fingers at people immediately, and it's not that easy, guys.
And as you can see, what's going to happen is YouTube's probably going to mix this show already.
That's right. I forgot about YouTube. Well, we can maybe edit some of this out.
Still, watch us on Rumble. But this is still America. This is still a free country, and it's the world. My goodness, when you wake up in the morning, I know just about almost every day that this happens to you. Somebody will text me or whatever. Wow, can you believe this? And it used to be, I'd be like, no, I can't. Now it's like, yeah, I can, because almost nothing surprises me anymore. Really
No, I mean, well, look, that they had open border problems in Israel, okay, and we have the same issues going on here in America. I mean, our border is wide open, and we've got people from all over the world coming up this border right now. They can do what they did in Israel to us right now. If they really wanted to, they can have these sleeper cell militia just start parachuting in and start shooting up cities off the border. And why wouldn't they do that? Okay, because this only helps the financial banker globalist agenda. Now they have more reason to fund their wars. They have more reason to keep whatever political officials that are in office now, keep them in office. Okay, because from what I understand, they were just about to get rid of Benjamin Netanyahu. I just think of Kanye West when he had a net and a Yahoo.
There you go. That's pretty
Netanyahu.
Yeah.
They were just about to get rid of him. But it's a parliamentary system. Nobody even liked him. And that's why everybody's like, oh, we need more parties. We need more. The 2-party system is the best system in the world, okay? Because you start getting into these parliamentary parties, you get people like Anthony Trudeau in there, like Netanyahu. They only got 30% of the vote because it's parliamentary, where there's different parties and all the parties get to decide who the leader is. They got in there even though they're popular. So, we can learn a lot from this stuff going on in Israel. I hope that you learn that Second Amendment was there for a reason, and that we have to learn that people who fund these wars, who push these wars, it's not what the media wants us to think it is. It's a lot deeper than that. I hope that inspires people to look deeper into these issues.
I think you're so right, because the operational key word here is media. Media, and you can call us media in a way because we're broadcasting whatever, but it's been so. And when I was a kid, we had the Walter Cronkite's of the world, and I think we had some actual reporting. Was everything factual and true? Probably not. We don't know. How do we know? Later on, we find out things. But for the most part, you could trust your newspapers, and a lot of that was because it was reported as reporting and not editorializing or fabrication and things like that. You can go and you could check the facts, and the facts were there. Today, that's a whole different story.
No, I think they only got control of the media later on. I think when you were going through it back in the day, people like of your generation were still in control, so you were still able to grasp some truth from the mainstream media. But the media is controlled by the far left wing propaganda machine. I mean, that's just what it is. They put out what they want us to see, and we only believe what our eyes see. So it's very powerful. But I didn't mean to go on such a hardcore rant, but I get pissed off. My male masculine instincts to protect and to fight for my community kick into full gear when I see these poor girls getting kidnapped off the streets of Israel and getting raped to death, and you see these guys spitting on and kicking dead Israeli soldiers in the face. That I hope that lets you guys know that this is very serious. Okay, everybody's really quick to go watch Netflix and play video games and watch football and drink beer. But very, very quickly, our world and our country can turn into that same scenario unless we all wake up and understand what's really going on. And at this current state, I don't think that we have it in us to really wake up in time. Maybe something will change, maybe not. I don't know. But when I see more people focused on the Cowboy-Niner game than anything else, it's disheartening. It's disheartening.
It is the kind of a fat, dumb, and happy syndrome. Well, you know what? I'm comfortable. Everything's fine, but you got to pay attention.
I don't know what else to do to kick people into gear. I mean, I post a lot of crazy stuff, and I'm sure people think, "Oh, well, Zeke's crazy. He's hardcore." But you know, when there's people parachuting into your neighborhood, you're probably thinking, "Now Zeke was right."
I hear you. I totally hear you. I want to mention, because we're kind of in the middle of the show, you are watching, this is the Chips and Salsa Show in New Mexico. We still have the Chips and Salsa Show in Arizona. That's where it originated. And normally our good friend Don Jorge, he might be joining us here and there. And he records a show on Tuesday. We're recording our show from New Mexico on Monday. And then we upload it later. Oh, we should also give kudos to our producer, our executive producer. That's Eric Williamson. And he takes care of us. He does all the editing and keeps us on task and target here. So thank you, Eric. And we really appreciate it. Just kind of spread the word. You know, we're conservative Latinos. When we started this, George and I and Martin Gonzalez and Ben Sanchez as well, too. He was a part of the original. It was because people didn't want to think that Latinos were conservative. And we all were. I think all of us were former Democrats, became Republicans. I could not be, maybe I'm not speaking for Martin, I'm not sure. But it's, you know, that's our culture and that's who we are. So the left doesn't like shows like these because we're too brown for the movement. But I'm telling you, we're here and we want to provide good information. So I really appreciate you chipsters, chipsteros, for being in the loop and for following us. Oh, and one more thing. We aren't posting that much stuff on the Chips and Salsa Facebook site, but we do have a group which is Friends of the Chips and Salsa Show. If you'd like to join that group, I think we're hitting like almost 700 members on that. And you get more intimate and you can post more materials. We post the shows there as well, too, as well as the Chips and Salsa Facebook page. But it's just another way to become engaged with people who kind of can share information like you do.
Yeah. You know, we shoot it to you straight, guys, because basically what this show is me and Alice are obsessed with geopolitics and news, and we watch hours upon hours every day. And so what this is basically a more refined, synthesized version of what we hear and know from credible sources. So that way you guys can get a more localized delivery system that you can identify with. We can get you right to the meat and the bones of it, because there is a lot of fluff in there. I watch about 3 or 4 hours a day. There's a lot of fluff in there. So what I aim to do is to get you right to the facts, right where you can implement in any community. It doesn't matter if it's in Las Cruces or Arizona.
We have the same issues.
Yeah, we have the same issues. And we're all at the border. Like, what's to stop them doing what they did in Israel to us for all Phoenix, Tucson, Las Cruces, El Paso? What's to stop them from doing the exact same thing there here? You know, nothing. There's nothing to stop. In fact, they have all the incentive to do it. More chaos, the better. And then if we did have some kind of proxy war like that here in America, let's go to war more hardcore. Let's give Congress more money and let's fund that war against Israel even more. Let's fund that war against Ukraine even more. So just be on high alert, guys, because they are foaming at the mouth to keep this war machine going, as they have done since Vietnam, since World War II. I mean, all the wars. Who wants a war? I don't want war. You know, I mean, I'm the kind of guy that's like, we should be spending all of our money taking care of our homeless, taking care of our veterans, building that wall, getting rid of all these freaking bases that we have around the world. We don't need to be sticking our hands and fingers in other countries in the world. Every time we do, it makes it worse. No wonder the world hates us. Okay? It's not just because we have freedom, it's because we go to these freaking countries, these poor countries, and bomb them to death. You know? And we say, oops, our bad, you know? And
we go back and we fix them.
And then
it's a vicious cycle. That's a really good way to transition also into the border. How close did you say you were from the border?
Right now?
Border? Yeah.
Oh, well, we're 30 minutes from there.
30 minutes, yeah.
About 30, 40 miles.
Right there,
yeah.
You know, and what's big now in the news is, New York's upset. We have illegal aliens here. We can't do it. We can't deal with them or anything. And I think the mayor or the governor was going to come down to the border and make some noise about that.
Yep.
And what's happening now? The Biden administration decided, I guess we're going to start building that wall again.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the fact that the border is open, it's all the Republicans' fault. Meanwhile, that was like Trump's main platform, was to build the wall. Although I will say, in all fairness, we're talking Rumble now. Well, it's probably not so bad. But the Koch brothers are open border Republicans, libertarians, open border libertarians. The Koch brothers and libertarians do like open borders. So they do have somewhat of an argument there, because a lot of conservative people did push for open borders.
The Republicans, we have not done enough. When we had the chance to do that, remember, I don't know if I don't even know how old you were at that point, but when President Bush was, we need a compassionate conservative. And that sold really well, right? Because they're always looking at Republicans, we're mean, awful. people.
Yeah.
But we have to have a border. Without a border, we don't have a nation. And we're totally pro legal immigration. Our candidate last week, Julia Reese, she came here. She was born in Mexico, but she became a citizen, a naturalized citizen. We want those sometimes make the best Americans because they appreciate the freedoms that we have here. But you've got to obey the laws. You've got to do it right, or otherwise, what are we having? What's happening now? Chaos.
If people were so into short-term gains and selling out the country, what this country could have been the biggest and best platform for human creativity and ingenuity the world has ever seen. We get rid of all these bases around the world. We get our fingers out of all these global wars. We have a badass border wall. And if you want to come into our country, you apply. And if you're a badass and you're a savage, you're going to work your ass off and you're going to have God and family at the forefront of when you come to this country. If we had those types of rules implemented, this country would have been the best place ever in the world, you know.
And ironically enough, when I was in probably at NMSU, that was happening. We were having some illegals were still getting in there. It wasn't like it is now, but it was honestly at that point, they wanted to work. They wanted, a lot of times the way it kind of worked, it was an interesting system. A lot of them come here, they work, send money back, and they really didn't want to stay here and become citizens. They wanted to go back. They just needed to earn money because they couldn't do it in their own country. Yeah. And then things evolved to where, you know what? And that's because the language started changing. You couldn't call them illegal aliens anymore. They were undocumented citizens. That went to undocumented. And like you always talk about that, how they want to control the language and change that language. And it's all on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, guys, is every prosperous and thriving country hires illegal immigrants to build their buildings and to build their cities. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're going to get the best labor. Those guys work harder than the locals. That's it. You know, Pablo and Jose from Guatemala are going to outwork freaking Chase and Paul up here. And that's like that worldwide. And that's fine. We should have programs to reward them heavily.
And we had that, the worker permits. Right, there's a way to do that. We just, if it's not enforced, that's where it gets out of hand. And we're a nation of laws. I've told you that story about coming back on the plane with this gentleman who was so excited he was going to be an American citizen. He was from Mexico. And he said, the difference in Mexico is Mexico, the law means nothing. And the United States, the law means something. Now, that was a long time ago. People might want to argue that point now. Yeah. But, that's what it's all about. Okay, let's see. We're down to like our last 15 minutes or so.
15 minutes,
we started a little bit early. We need to mention, are you going to win the lotto? Nobody won the lotto.
1.5 billion.
Awesome. Just even a little tiny bit of that.
They've done studies. People who end up winning the lottery end up blowing the hell out of it.
Yes.
It's like, I think 80% of them lose it all. Something like that's a crazy statistic where most of them who win lose it all. I wouldn't lose it all.
Gotta have a plan, right?
I would do something cool with it, yeah.
Gotta have a plan, like a relative or somebody who is a super CPA, so you don't blow all the money and make sure it's taken care of. But I find that fascinating.
Just buy gold.
Yeah. And a lot of higher politicians, I understand the politicians are buying gold and hiding it away.
They sure are.
I said higher politicians, but I meant on the higher level.
If you know anything about anything, guys, you ought to be buying gold and silver right now. I mean, that's just what it is, guys. I mean, that's just a public service announcement. The dollar will crash. I'm predicting sometime next year. Could be as early next year. That's a little pessimistic. It probably will take another year or so. But at this war,
before or after the election?
Before the election. As this war escalates, you'll start seeing more and more people. And gold and silver already spiked yesterday. So it's like,
wow.
As these wars continue to go and there's less security and more insecurity with the global economy, people will start divesting into gold and silver, which has already started. So if you're not on that gravy train already, get on it. I'll be buying a grip of gold here soon, or silver rather.
Silver.
And that's just because I know what's about to come. I mean, silver and food, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and you should be living like that anyway, no matter what.
Correct.
Because anything could happen. You want to protect your family and take care of
Correct.
them. And interest rates are up too, aren't they?
Interest rates are past 8 points now, 8%, which is crazy. You'll start to see the housing prices go down. And from what I just heard today, they will be increasing the rates again in the very near future. So they could get up to 9, maybe 10% before year's end, which would tank home values. And there's already nobody selling anyway. So it's gonna get crazy, guys. Protect yourself, please. If we pro Second Amendment, get some storable food. It's actually not that. I mean, for $1,500, you can get 6 months of storable food. I mean, that sounds like that is kind of a lot of money. That is a lot of money for most people. I understand that. Save up, get some storable food, have that security, because food prices are going through the roof right now. They're coming after cows. They're coming after our food sources.
Yeah. You want to kill off our meat?
If I was selling storable food, I'd be selling that to you right now. But I'm not. I'm just trying to be a good neighbor and tell you guys, this is what I do. This is how I'm preparing for what's about to come. I am no fool. And I feel like I wish I can do a better job telling people what's about to happen. Guys, we have a wide open border. There is proof. There's a Congressman Gonzalez just posted today that he has hard evidence that there's people who are on the global terrorist watch list are coming into this country right now, okay, from all over the world, Yemen, all these terrorist countries. They're here. They're here in this country right now.
There's no tracking. We don't even know. And every time I hear someone like him who's in the know, then I always think, okay, that's what we know. What do we not know?
What do we not know? And it's just, God bless America. All right. And God bless you guys for tuning in and supporting us. I got a lot of compliments this weekend at the candidate happy hour meet and greet. Got several people come up thanking us for the Chips and Salsa show. So if you guys see us around, please say hi. You know, I love hearing the feedback and I love hearing that people I just wouldn't expect are listeners here in Las Cruces. So
we appreciate that. There isn't a whole lot here locally, and that was one of the reasons we decided to bring that again. And we should talk about that. That was a really good event. That was it was a candidate happy hour that we had here at the game one. That's game one, right? On Espina. And thank you, Marcy Dickerson. She's the entrepreneur there. That's her business.
Martha, God bless her. She just beat cancer too, by the way.
Yeah, she's really a dynamic person.
Incredible woman.
But we invited candidates and very well attended. I think we had like about 10 candidates that showed up. Zeke and I got to host it for the Chips and Salsa show.
We did.
And it was sponsored by
a ton of people.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna name it. I'll give you credit. It's Dora Lucchini Lucero. I think I got the name right. And then also Naomi Ferencrew. Naomi did just tons of work on that as well too. I think Dora invited all the candidates. Liz Ortega, Liz Winterroad as well. I put in a few bucks, and also the coalition did. Coalition of Conservatives in Action. Juan Garcia, who we had on too. And really, we just wanted to have a very informal hour so people could come down and meet the candidates. We had conservative candidates, but we had some Democrats that came too. There's some conservative Democrats that came, and I think it went.
Not even conservative. There was just Democrats there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just have to. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great mix, and we all got along just fine. They were surprised how friendly we were to them, especially Mark O'Neill. Shout out to you, Marky. You know, he was very surprised how welcoming we were to. And I was like, hey, man, look. Even though he's a Democrat, he does have a good platform. That District 1 race is going to be a tough race. You know, there's Jason Estrada, who's very charismatic.
He's independent, right?
I don't know if he's independent, but I know he's conservative at the very least. There's Daniel Buck. You know, he's a Democrat, but he's very smart, very charismatic too. And then there's him. There's Mr. Mark O'Neill. That's a hard race. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican or not, if you look at these three men's platforms and how charismatic they are, you're going to have a hard time voting. And I was just being very honest about that. So, and I also got a request today, which I think we might do. Maybe we can do a surprise episode, but somebody was asking us, maybe we can do it today, for a breakdown of all the candidates and who we would vote for.
Well,
because they're very confused. They're very confused.
Well, I have the list that the CCIA put out in their newsletter, and what's really cool is because he identified. So Jason Estrada looks like he's in red. So if you're red, that means you're a Republican.
So he's Republican.
So let's just go through this real quick. We got a few minutes.
We got a few minutes. Let's do it.
So we have a public school. Our school districts are running, the city council, and a mayoral. So in the Las Cruces Public School District number 1, we have Patrick D. Nolan, happens to be a Democrat, and Joseph F. Sousa, who is the Republican. He couldn't make it. I think Dora had some signs there for him.
Right.
And then in Las Cruces Public School District number 4, we have the incumbent right now is Teresa Tenorio. Patrick Nolan's an incumbent right as well. He was, I think, appointed. And then, of course, we talked to Julia Reese last week. She's a Republican running there. And then Edward P. Howell, who's also Republican. Now, these are nonpartisan races, which means when you vote for them, you won't know what they are. And, you know, those are the 3 in that one. We would really like to get out the incumbent because, oh my gosh, we need a change so badly. Just go. You know what? I want to tell people. If you are going to vote and this is your district, just go to their website or go to YouTube and search. You can see some of the meetings and you can get a feel for what you like.
I'm gonna tell people who I'm gonna vote for. I'll just tell them right now. I'll be honest.
Okay,
with
well, you know what? Okay, so well, of course, he can't vote in everyone, but this is presuming that he could. So I'm gonna, since you want to do that,
Right.
I'm not going to because I like to keep that policy. I will though say, I am supporting Julia Reese because I get to vote in that.
No, you can't. You just said you wouldn't do
I
that.
know, that's the only one I'm going to. That's the only one I'm going to, because I went canvassing for her this
She's got a
weekend
sign in the front yard.
and have a sign. So somebody said, well, you have that sign. So, you know, I'll get busted. Okay, so let's start out District 1. If you were voting District 1, and we live in the same district, so I don't think you can vote for that, right? We have Patrick DiNola and Joseph F. Sousa. You would vote for?
Mr. Sousa, because I do respect Dora Lucchini. She is a strong conservative. She did work for the school board, so if she says he's good to go, I vouch for it. I would.
Okay, and then I think you do actually live in District 4.
I do.
Check that. Okay.
I do.
So there we have the incumbent, the current.
Tenorio.
Okay, Tenorio, Teresa Tenorio, Julia Reese, and Edward P. Howell. And that's my phone, so sorry, it's gonna be our background news. My region. So who would you vote for in that district?
Julia Reese. Julia Reese is solid as can be. I've been friends with her since she decided to get involved with the Republican Party a little over a year ago. So yeah, Julia Ruiz for District 4. I got her back there big time.
She's got a great story as well. Then District 5, it's still the public school district. We have Ernest B. Carlson IV and Carol L. Cooper. Carol L. Cooper is the incumbent, Ernest Carlson, and they're both Republicans. And then on the Democrat side, we have Jose L. Aranda and Edward Frank.
Ernest Carlson.
Ernest Carlson's who you
Yeah, he's a veteran. I've had a good long conversation with him. He was actually one of our first guests of one of our
Yes,
shows.
he was.
Great guy. I trust his judgment. Solid. I'll go with Ernest Carlson for District 5 LCPS.
All righty. And then we have Council District 1, and that's more of the downtown
This is a tough
area,
one for
right?
me. This
It's
really
in the
is. I
downtown.
might not decide on this one.
Okay, and we have one Republican in that race, and that's Jason Estrada, who's come to talk to us, and we talked to him. The Democrats that are in that race are Cassandra McClure. Is that the incumbent?
No.
Mark O'Neill. Oh,
Right.
that's right, because Daniel G. Buck and Patrick W. Potter.
No idea who those guys are. I know who. So here's the thing. Although Jason Estrada is a Republican, we got to really consider who can actually win. Now, downtown area, which is District 1, downtown Las Cruces, is hardcore Democrat. I mean, hardcore.
It is.
So realistically, who could win in that district that I would trust in that position? And for me, I believe that even though Daniel Buck is a Democrat, I think he has a better chance at winning than Mr. Mark O'Neill. Although I do like Mr. O'Neill's platform, even though he's a Democrat, I do like his platform. He's very commonsensical, he's very experienced, and he's a great guy overall. He's a former coach, which I like that. But I have to go with who I think can actually win. And for me, that's Daniel Buck.
The thing that I remember, I believe Mark O'Neill likes the ranked choice voting. So I have a little problem with
Another reason why I didn't want to go with him.
All right, and the city council races, those are ranked choice voting. The school districts are not. The school districts are traditional, 51%, and then a runoff, right, or whoever gets the most. I need to get clear on that.
Skank choice voting. Just kidding.
All right, so let's go to city council district number 2. 2 people running. We have Tessa, or is it Teresa? It's
Tessa.
Tessa L. Abieta, and she is a Democrat.
Hardcore.
And then William Matisse, who
Right.
is an independent.
He's an independent. And city councilwoman Abieta, she's the incumbent. She has just been a part of this progressive movement to the max. I personally want to get rid of her as soon as I can, as soon as we can. So Mr. Matisse has my vote all day. And he's very popular. I don't see him losing this race. I don't.
Now, of this one, because there's only 2 candidates there too, and I got to meet Mr. Matisse for the first time. I've heard just wonderful things about him.
He's great.
I liked everything he said that night, and I'm with you too. I've watched enough of those meetings. I really don't want that person to go back in there.
No.
So I'm going to put my name to that too.
There we go. See, I'm getting her to commit.
See, now
Yes.
I can't vote. Unfortunately, I can't vote in that council district, but
Yeah, you can.
vote and vote. Whose name can I fake? I'm so-and-so.
Vote early, vote often.
So the next one is council district number 4.
Oh, this is the good one.
Okay.
This is the
This
good
is a
one.
good one. And this has the incumbent right now is your girlfriend, Johanna
My
Vincoma.
girlfriend, Joanna, she would never go on a date with me, even though she's married.
And then we do have a Republican, our friend Lorenzo Medina. And then we have Ramon O. Ortega, who happens to be a Democrat.
I never met him.
He did come and he spoke in CCIA.
Oh, did he? I'm
Yeah.
just.
You can watch him if you watch that for him. And then Gabriel Duran Jr., and he's an independent.
He's an independent. So Joanna Bicomo is part of the crew on the city council that is hardcore progressive. They've plummeted this city, especially that district, into way more crime, way more drugs, way more violence. They have no plans to fix any of the policies that they put into place to make this city better. And Gabe Duran is a good friend of mine. I've known him since I was very young. Good guy. He's got my support 100%. Gabe Duran Jr. for District 4.
And we interviewed him last week, right?
Yeah, he was on the podcast a week ago. He's independent. He's not a hardcore Republican, even though I am. And I don't even want to say I'm hardcore Republican because there's a lot of rhinos out there, guys. There's a lot of Republicans that I just don't agree with. I am Republican, but I am a America First conservative Republican.
I was going to say conservative Republican for
America First. That's
America
the main
first.
thing.
America First. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have this big one. Well, before we do that big one, there is a municipal judge, and the only one running is Judge Anthony F. Filosa. Can you do write-ins here? Do you know?
I don't know. It's weird that he's the only one.
Write Zeke.
You can't be a judge and be a Republican in this city. So, my question for him is like, well, how Democrat are you?
He's the only one running.
Yeah, so that's a weird one.
So here's the big one. For mayor, we have 7. We have 7 candidates. And again, it is going to be ranked choice voting. So let me give you the Democrats first. So the mayor right now, he's not going to run again. He's been in there like how many, like 16 years or something.
The longest running mayor in American history, honestly. I don't want to speak out of line, don't quote me on that, but I think he's the longest standing mayor in U.S. history.
And I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Miyagishima?
Miyagashima. There you go.
Miyagashima. Okay. So for the Democrat side, Eric J. Enriquez and Cassandra Gandara, who is a city councilwoman running for mayor now.
Yep.
And Eugenia G. Montoya Ortega. And that's Gina, she goes by Gina Ortega.
Gina.
Those are the Democrats running.
Yep.
On the independent side, we have one independent, and that's Alexander Baca Fresquez.
Never heard of him.
And he did come to our forum. See, a lot of people that came to the coalition forum, and I give them points for that. And then our Republican candidates are Isabella Solis, Mariah, it's not Maria, it's Mariah J. Hernandez, and Mike Diaz, who we interviewed.
Okay.
Okay, you got a pick for that one?
Yeah. I mean, look, shout out to all my Republican candidates. I love you guys. But again, I have to consider who I think can actually win. This is a hardcore blue city for now, until we start getting some more registered Republicans in there. So do I like Isabel Solis? Yes. She's a Republican. She's a conservative. She's a Christian. I know that her principles align more with mine more than anyone else. But do I think she can win? No, I don't think she can win. I am leaning more towards Eric Enriquez because he has gotten a huge war chest from what I understand. And I met him recently over the weekend. I heard his platform. He's got a lot of experience. For me right now, I don't want to fully commit because I'm still not quite sure.
Okay, I'm going to put at this time.
At this time, it's going to be Mr. Eric Enriquez, Democrat mayor, because even though he's a Democrat, I like his platform. I like his experience a lot. And I don't think Isabella, as a Republican, has what it takes to penetrate that hardcore left blue wall that we have in this city to get her to the finish line.
Interesting. Now, what I want to make an observation about this is notice all the incumbents. We are not for
that. No.
Right?
Not at all.
I don't think there was any.
We have probably the worst. We have a horrible city council government. I mean, this city went from one of the safest cities in the country to the most dangerous cities in the country, like that. Okay.
Sad. Very,
very quickly. So there's a lot of people who are motivated right now to get these people out of office. There really is. I mean, we saw it Friday night. There's a lot of energy.
Oh yeah.
People are doling out checks to candidates like crazy. It's like people are ready for change.
It was a good happy hour, and thank you all of you who attended. And if you couldn't attend, I'm sorry, but hopefully we'll start a trend and we can keep.
No, we'll be doing these all the time now. It was fun.
It was fun.
And we can do them better too.
Well attended. It was the first one to do, so they'll only get better.
We lean on Alice a lot. We really did. She had a freaking plan of action, everything ready to go. So thank you, Alice. You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
You really did.
Really better. You did great too. You did wonderful too.
Okay.
I just want to mention real quick before we go. There is also Sarah Smith has on her deal. Let's see. I'm going to get this correct.
And Sarah Smith is a savage, in case you guys don't know.
She is. But I posted an article and it addresses community activist fears Las Cruces breakdown due to crime, drugs, homelessness, and Sarah Smith is featured here. I've shared it, and we can talk maybe about it. Maybe we need to have Sarah on anyway.
Let's try to get her on ASAP. Let's try to get her on soon, yeah.
And so active. She homeschools her kids. She's into naturopathic stuff. I mean, there is nothing
Yeah,
negative
yeah.
I can say about her.
She has her own chickens and does her own eggs, and then she kills her chickens and feeds them to her kids and teaches her kids how to kill chickens. Like, I mean, that woman is like the future of America.
Exactly.
And her husband too. God bless him.
We need more like her. I also want to mention the 40 Days for Life. I've got my shirt on too, the coalition. There's still time if you want to volunteer in your community for 40 Days to Life. That's where you pray in front of Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics. You don't engage. You're simply there to pray and support
The power of
and
prayer.
change minds. And it is powerful.
The power of prayer. Like right now, the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos owns it. There's an article that just came out. He's calling for people to put curses and to summon demons against Trump. Yeah, I swear to God. I mean, I could post
We
in
need
the
to
comments.
pray for Trump.
Yeah, we need to start praying more often, guys. I mean, I prayed today. I pray every day. Sometimes I get, I should be praying more, but I feel like, especially with the 40 Days of Life, I felt it there with 40 Days of Life more than ever. We were praying. I made some amazing friends, and they closed down that abortion clinic. I don't know if did they ever reopen it?
I don't know for sure.
They closed it.
Where was it?
The one on Tell Shore, the Pink House. After we did that 40 Days of Prayer last year, they closed it down for a while, and I was like, wow, and we were there hanging out, praying and stuff together, a group prayer, like 4 of us, and we'd have people flipping us off, as we were praying. So it's that kind of energy, guys. It's that kind of energy, and it's that important.
We'll need to get someone on to get us all clear on that. Maybe we can do that next week. Where I go is right across from the hospital where Planned Parenthood is. They're on Tell Shore.
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah,
I don't want to go
Planned
there.
Parenthood is there. Well, yeah, I know. Anyway, we're right off the highway. So every time I see like a Texas license plate going parked there, you just think, oh my gosh, what are you here for?
Praying.
And you got to keep praying.
Praying and spraying.
All right, we got a few more minutes left. What do we need to promote or anything? Thursday, the hearing for this Jack of Hearts and Other Parts book. Please, if you live in the Las
come
Cruces
hang out,
area,
guys.
even if you live close, here El Paso is 35-40 minutes away. Come down and support us because I guarantee you it's happening somewhere in your community and you probably aren't even aware of it. I wasn't, unless Juan brought this up, I would never have known about it.
Well, that's true. Let's support Juan and CCIA standing up for the children. There's not many people fighting for the children. I mean, this is the least that they're doing, is introducing them to all these sexual, just lower frequency, horrible things that can ruin them. They're destroying their innocence.
Yes.
But aside from that, guys, I know I got a lot of doom and gloom earlier, a little doom and gloom. That being said, I still do have a very positive feeling about the future. I don't know what it is. Call it God. I don't know. But I just have a damn good feeling about something that's going on. I think that we had to go through this as a species. We're cleansing our world of the evil that is here, that we allowed to be here. But now we're waking up and now we're purging it out of our world and our spirits. So get close to God. That's what I'm doing. And that's what gives me it really does. The prayer and getting close to God gives me a lot of optimism, guys. So I hope that you guys can take that as some kind of encouragement and you guys follow suit.
I'm totally with you. Very well said. Very well said. So please tell your friends about us. It's Chips and Salsa Show in New Mexico. We are here. We record the show Monday afternoon, and Eric Williamson, kudos to you, he'll upload it on our Rumble site, our YouTube site. Please subscribe, follow us on Rumble.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do is awesome and great.
I can't stay off YouTube, guys. I can't. I'm gonna keep trying, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, it's hard. They've got everything. They've got such a big.
But share this though. Even if I email a lot because a lot of my friends are older and stuff.
And text the link.
They don't like text. They don't, but email. Yeah, text, email,
text.
Talk about it. Just let it. It's not even about like us. We just want the more that we're all on the same page, the more fun we have when we're together, the more we can work together to change things.
Right, and information. So until next week, we'll see you. I'm Alice Lara, and you are
Zeke Rodriquez,
the Zeke Neighbor, and we are the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you guys.
And we'll see you next week.
God bless, guys.
You guys take care, walk on, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Great.